All right, good evening. I have 6:30. I'll call to order this first meeting of 2020 for January 7th. It's Tuesday. It's 6:30 p.m., January 7th, 2020. Pat, could you please take a roll call for us?
Gray,
Present.
Johnson.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
Ryan.
Here.
Tylen.
Here.
Tome.
Here.
Traxler.
Here.
Thank you. If able, let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting has been noticed in accordance with state statutes and local ordinances. Next item then is to approve the agenda for the evening. We have a pretty short agenda to kick off the new year. Unless there's any alterations or deletions, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second. Have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion on the motion? If none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The agenda is approved. On to correspondence and communications. We have one person signed up this evening, and that's John Folk from 219 Hibbert Street. John, if you'd like to come up to the podium. Lisa, could you turn on the podium mic for us? You should be ready to go.
All right, my name is John Falk. I live at 219 Hibbert Street, Columbus, Wisconsin. All right, this is kind of a repeat of what somebody did last council meeting, is complain about this Hibbert Street project. The other thing is, I just had my driveway resurfaced in end of June. Am I going to get credit for that? Okay, we had our lot surveyed and in September, and there was people out on the road walking around, and I told them that the survey was just done, and I asked them what they were doing. What they told me was they were doing a traffic study. All right, now the first informational meeting we had on Hibbert Street, one of the questions asked, was there a traffic study done? The answer was no. So apparently somebody who is over them told them to lie to us. That's not right. Okay. The council meeting after that, the mayor didn't show up. You might have good reason, that's fine. Okay. The next informational meeting, some of the council members and the mayor showed up at. They brought the old mayor with them to try to support what he was trying to do on Hibbert Street. The next council meeting, the date was changed to the day before. Common sense would have been change it to a day or two after, so if people didn't realize it was changed, they could have still made the meeting. I was an hour and a half away, and I still got down here and went to that meeting. Okay, and then Hibbert Street itself. Okay, this meeting that is Thursday. I've got no emails. I didn't get a letter on when this was going to happen at all. Okay, as far as I know, there's 3 residents on that street that want or are okay with putting sidewalks in. That's a total of probably 6 people. And you have 6 council members, and what, 5 of them are okay with this? Okay, the residents between Hibbert, Maple, and Dick Street are going to get a rude awakening, because once you put the sidewalk in on our road, they're going to get it on both sides, curb and gutter. And then the last meeting, there was a person up here complaining basically about what I am doing right now. I was sitting in that back corner, and as he's complaining, our mayor is giggling and laughing about what he is saying. That is not right. If that is how you are going to be our mayor. You should be seated, somebody else should take over. Thank you.
Anyone else present this evening that did not get a chance to sign up for citizen comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Tonight we have the Council and Committee of the Whole minutes for December 17th, 2019. Also applications for operators licenses for the term of July 1, 2019 to June 30th, 2021. The names of those applicants are Lacey M. Bordy, Michelle Dent, and Devin Hawley. Is that all, Pat? No additional? Okay. If there are no questions on any items in the consent agenda, I'll entertain any action on them.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion on the motion? If none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda is approved. On to new business item number 1. Consider and take action on IT maintenance agreement with OnTech Systems Incorporated. This was presented at the last committee of the whole for a maintenance proposal. OnTech Systems we've worked with to get our new servers and backup devices installed for the city, and so this is the addition to that, which is an ongoing maintenance agreement with OnTech. We have Keegan here this evening if there's any questions. Did you want to get up, Keegan?
If anybody's got questions.
I don't know if there's any questions. I believe the recommendation was for a 2-year commitment, which would be a total of $18.33 per month for that 2-year commitment. Are there any questions from the council? Keegan can answer them. I don't see any questions from the council. I would recommend approval of the maintenance agreement if anyone wishes to do so in the form of a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the IT maintenance agreement with OnTech as stated in the packet.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the IT maintenance agreement with OnTech Systems Incorporated for the 2-year agreement. Any discussion on the motion? If there's no discussion, could we please take a roll call, Pat?
Johnson,
Aye.
Reed, Ryan,
Aye.
Tylen,
Aye.
Traxler,
Aye.
Gray.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Number 2 is a companion to number 1. Consider and take action on Fortify endpoint security with OnTech Systems. I believe the recommendation on this was the endpoint was for $48.96 per year, and the Barracuda Email Essentials was $54.40 per year. Those are both security issues that go along with the maintenance. I don't know if there was is that just an annual fee? There's
The Barracuda Email Essentials is monthly $137.50. I don't know what that is annual off the top of
Okay.
my head. 1540. What was that?
1540.
1540.
Yep, that's what we have.
And then the Fortify at 51 was 408. So that sounds about right for both of those combined, not 5431 for Barracuda and then an additional 4800 for Fortify. It's the 5400 for both products combined.
Okay.
48, yeah.
$48.96 for both combined. Okay. All right. Any questions for Keegan on the proposal? Andy?
So in the packet, it says consider and take action on Fortify endpoint for $48.96 per year, and then it says consider and take action on Barracuda emails for $15.40 per year. So,
Okay, so that would be the two totals then, is the
Okay.
1534 for the Barracuda and the 4896 for Fortify. The Barracuda could be purchased annually instead of monthly if the city desired. It's really a budgeting thing. Some do it monthly, some do it annual.
Thanks.
Any further questions for Keegan while he's up? Did we want to do these in 2 separate motions? Does that make sense, or I think we should approach it that way? All right. There's no further questions for Keegan, then entertain any action then on.
I'll make a motion to approve the Fortify for endpoint at $4,896 per year.
I All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the agreement with, OnTech Systems to provide a Fortify endpoint security for $48.96 per year. Any discussion on the motion? Ed, did you have a question? No? All right, could we please take a roll call on that if there's no questions on the motion?
Reed. Ryan.
Aye.
Tylen.
Aye.
Traxler.
Aye.
Gray.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, then we would have the Barracuda Email Essentials, $15.40 per year.
I'll make a motion to take action on the agreement with OnTech to approve the Barracuda Email Essentials for $1,540 a year.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for approval of the Barracuda Email Essentials. As read, any discussion on that motion? If there's no discussion, could we please take a roll call, Pat?
Ryan.
Aye.
Tylen.
Aye.
Traxler.
Aye.
Gray.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 3 is consider moving the council meeting due to spring primary elections on February 18th. The recommendation is to consider the Monday prior, which would be Monday the 17th. Does anyone have scheduling conflicts with that recommendation? You'll be here late? Okay. Think we can deal with Paul running late? Okay. Would Wednesday work better, Ian, or will you still be gone? Is Wednesday a possibility for others? Oh, okay, well, that's probably gonna have some impact. All right. Okay. All right, we would need a motion and a second to change the date. What's the will of the council? Okay.
I'll make a motion to stay in line with what is normally done for changing a council meeting, move it to the Monday prior to that date, so it would be the 17th.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion to change the meeting date to Monday, February 17th.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to move the council meeting from February 18th to February 17th, 2020. Any discussion on the motion? If none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 4, consider and take action on streetlight committee recommendation for additional streetlights to the Hibbert Street reconstruction project. This was brought forward at the last committee of the whole meeting. There was a note in here that Zach had corrected the pole placement. I believe he had the wrong side of the street, east or west, so there would be a total of 5 new streetlights to be installed on Hibbert Street at the intersection of Narrow Street and Hibbert on the east side, Sunset and Hibbert on the east side, Chapin and Hibbert on the east side, Turner and Hibbert on the west side of the street, and Brevity and Hibbert on the east side of the street. That was the recommendation from the Streetlight Committee. There is a map attached in the packet. Are there any questions on this item? Ma'am?
If we use a street light on the corner by Hibbert where it intersects Dix, it's very dark right at the end where the stop sign.
Okay, thank you. We can only approve these tonight. We'd have to ask the Streetlight Committee to reconsider that, so,
It's kind of behind Bob Lewis's property,
okay.
his second lot.
All right. Any questions from the council on the recommendation from the Streetlight Committee? If none, I'd entertain approval of the placement of those lights.
I'll make a motion to approve the action on the Streetlight Committee's recommendation for additional streetlights to the Hibbert Street reconstruction project.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the recommendation from the Streetlight Committee for the additional streetlights on the Hibbert Street project as read. Any discussion on the motion? If none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 5, consider and take action on the city's organizational chart. This was reviewed at the last committee of the whole. David did do a few updates on the organizational chart to include the municipal court. For the most part, this would be recognizing 2019, but we'll be looking at this as we move forward and looking for a new city administrator and looking at the city's organizational structure. Just wanted to memorialize this through action of the council that we have an organizational chart. So, any questions on this, Trina?
Oh, I noticed that the library one was missing from the liaison section in the middle.
Bottom line, it looks like.
For the board.
I believe that's would be considered included as part of the board. That's just my assumption. I don't know if every liaison for every board, committee, or commission is on here, and we can certainly look at that as we update it in 2020, but good point. My intent wasn't to update this completely, just to get it memorialized at this point, so we have a starting point to work moving forward.
Okay. Yeah, overall, I'm really pleased just seeing the layout. Thank you.
Very good. All right, any other questions from the council on this? If there are no questions, I'll entertain action on memorializing the city's organizational chart.
I'll make a motion to approve the city's organizational chart as presented.
Second.
I have a motion in 2 seconds to recognize the city's organizational chart. Any discussion on that? If none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 6, consider and take action on claims in the amount of $239,967.18. Any discussion or questions on the claims? If there are no questions, I'll entertain action on the city claims in the amount read.
Make a motion to approve the claims in the amount of $239,967.18.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve city claims in the amount read. Any discussion on the motion? If there's no discussion, can we please take a roll call, Pat?
Tylen? Traxler?
Aye.
Gray?
Aye.
Johnson?
Aye.
Reed?
Aye.
Ryan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Pat. On to report of city officers. David, did you have anything you'd like to report this evening?
Well, the council I trust has been reading my weekly reports. I just wanted to add that you probably see that I'm spending a significant amount of time on the capital projects. You've approved a capital projects budget for 2020 and approved the borrowing for the Hibbert Street project. And there are other projects, as you know, that have been come to you for consideration. And I've just been researching other sources that are available that could be carried over to pay for capital projects, reading the audit, looked at the first draft of the 2050 plan, vision, working with the finance director, and came to a point that we just didn't have all the information. I pulled together a projects team meeting with department heads. And for example, the pool, they were doing pressure testing yesterday, and they got about half of it done. They still have some work to do. Initially, it sounds positive, but they're not done yet. But that kind of thing, the mayor and I talked about this, and he agreed to defer that presentation to your next meeting. And my hope and expectation is that we will be prepared to have a presentation and a productive meeting at that point. So just to explain that process and why it's not on the agenda tonight. So it's very important. So other than that, that's the main thing I would highlight. Any questions from anyone? Very good.
Thank you, David. All right, I had a few things. A reminder, since I'm not trying to keep it a secret, is that there's a Hibbert Street public information meeting. It's the third and final public information meeting. That will be this Thursday, September 9th at 6:30 p.m. at the Senior Center. requested that the city clerk notice the meeting in the event that there is a quorum of council members present, as they're encouraged to attend the public information meetings. This is our first regular city council meeting of 2020, which also coincides with the statutory deadline to submit paperwork for candidacy of local municipal offices and spring ballot access. This spring for the city of Columbus, there are 3 aldermanic seats that will be on the ballot. Pat gave me a little summary today since the deadline was at 5 o'clock for submission of those papers. In District 1, we have Ian Gray, the incumbent, has submitted paperwork to appear on the ballot, as well as Eric Ravnikar. In District 2, Jason Tyland, incumbent, filed non-candidacy papers. There is paperwork that's been submitted by Paul Pfeifferon to appear on the ballot. District 3, Andy Traxler, incumbent, has not filed papers. This will leave the position open for 72 hours for any District 3 candidate, with the exception of the incumbent. The deadline for that extension is Friday, January 10th at 5 p.m. to submit paperwork. Again, want to extend my gratitude to the members of the City Council for the time and effort that they commit to the City of Columbus during their terms, and also commend anyone who has submitted paperwork to appear on the ballot to serve their community. And also, I'm looking forward to working with all of you till the second meeting of April, and looking forward to working with whoever is seated on the council the second meeting of April. That's all I had. Unless there's anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I believe you may have misspoke about the meeting date for the Hibbert Street thing. I think it's January 9th.
Did I say January?
I thought I heard September.
I'm sorry.
So,
Thank you for the
It
correction.
seemed that you want to be clear as to when it is.
Very well, very good. It is 2 days from today.
There's no deception.
2 doors from here at 6:30 at the Senior
right.
Center.
Thank you.
Ed, for
That's it.
catching that. All right.
Then I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, welcome back. The City Council, Columbus Common Council Committee of the Whole meeting for Tuesday, January 7th. The time is now 6:58 PM. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Pat, if you could please take a roll call.
Gray,
Here?
Johnson,
Here.
Reed, Ryan,
Here.
Tylen, Tome,
Here.
Traxler.
Here. All right, this meeting was noticed in accordance with state statutes and local ordinances. First thing we have is to approve the agenda. Very light agenda tonight. I have no changes.
Second.
Okay, a motion to approve the agenda. In a second, any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the agenda is approved. Next up, I have citizen comments. We have Chris Orange from Lifestar here. He's here to talk to us about the ambulance service for Lowell and Reeseville and any impacts that would have on the city. We did have some conversations and questions at the last city council meeting about, what would happen in certain scenarios, and they are here to answer any questions. Did you have anything to start off with, or did you just there if we have questions?
Sure. My name is Mike Krieger. I'm actually the owner of the company, and
Oh,
then this is Chris. He's our supervisor out here in Columbus. I work in West Bend more on a little bit higher view of things, and then Chris works here on a daily basis on the operations that serve the city and the surrounding area. So we would be happy to answer any questions you have. I just want to start out by saying we were approached by Lowell and Reeseville about 4 months ago about possibly taking over service to their two villages. And at that point, we looked at what type of impact that would have on our service here. And based off of the population, there's not anticipated to be really much of an impact on that. They have about 1,000 people between those two villages, and we look at that being about 50 calls per year based off of the figures that they have given us in the past. So we're looking at about 1 per week. And there are times that we are pretty busy here in Columbus, but there's also lots of times when we're sitting and doing nothing. And so we feel like that is something that we can absorb without much, if any, impact here to the city and the surrounding townships that we had served prior to those two villages. With that, I do feel like occasionally, there could be an issue where we have, both of our ambulances here out on calls and a third one comes in, and we may have to call mutually. That happens, currently, occasionally, but we do have systems in place for that to help with that. We belong to the Columbia County EMS Association and the Dodge County EMS Association, and as part of those, we have mutual aid agreements where we can call for neighboring departments to come respond here into the city or to the other areas we serve if our ambulances are busy. And we've used that sometimes because we've had multiple calls at the same time. Sometimes we use that when we have accidents or other incidents that involve multiple patients at the same time, where it's more than our two ambulances can take care of. In addition to that, too, we have used Sun Prairie paramedics occasionally as well. It's not an official agreement, more of a handshake agreement, but they have come up here, and we have gone down there sometimes as well, too. So those mutual aid agreements are really there to protect those unlikely times when we cannot handle our calls here in our current service area.
Okay. Yeah, that was one piece of information I didn't have. We didn't know what kind of impact, like calls wise, that it would have. 50 calls a year is pretty small. So
Sure.
That's just information we didn't have.
And if we were looking at adding another municipality, we're at that point where we couldn't do that without adding an additional ambulance or a part-time ambulance here. So this really takes us to where Chris and I feel comfortable with where we can be. But if the town of Lowell approached us down the road or any other township, that would be a much bigger discussion, and the answer probably would be no, we couldn't do that. We're kind of at that point where the two ambulances are good and can cover things well. But if we add, one more municipality, we're going to have to look at adding a third ambulance, and there's a significant cost to that, because it's really the cost of preparedness to have us here, to have us sitting here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to be ready for calls. And so, anything in future would probably be a no unless we made some other accommodations.
Okay. Any questions for Lifestar?
We're always happy to come to a meeting. I mean, we meet with the Columbus Area EMS group twice a year and go through reports, and Chris sends them reports on a monthly basis. But most of the time, we kind of are quiet down there on Water Street, and if you ever want us to come back to a city meeting, we'd be always happy to do that.
Okay, Trina has a
Oh,
question.
no, not a question. I just feel much better hearing about the mutual aid system. Thank you for bringing
Sure.
that to our attention.
Yeah, that's an important thing, because you could really, if you had an unlimited bag of cash, maybe you could, plan for every possible incident, but really no municipality can afford to do that, because there's going to be times like, I mean, it's old news, but when the pool had the chlorine problem, there's no way that you could regularly staff enough ambulances here in the city to cover that. Or if we have an accident with 4 or 5 people, which happens a couple of times a year, or fires would be the same thing too. The fire department can't have enough apparatus to take care of everything on their own, and so that's why there's mutual aid there.
Thank you. Any other questions? I do pay attention to those reports, and I encouraged the council last meeting to make sure that they're keeping an eye on those too. This does have good information in it, and there are times that you don't meet the standard for calls, then that'll be there, and they can just keep an eye on it over the next year and just see how that, if there was an impact that was significant. So
Sure.
I'm
And if-
comfortable with it now. It makes a lot of sense. So
If there's anything you want to look at, the contract is up for renewal this year. We're here through the end of the year, and at some point, probably started in May with that EMS group, we'll start looking at, what we want to do for the future. Just because the council changes, I mean, this is our 10th year here. We just had that anniversary on January 1st, and you are, as a city, paying less today than you did prior to Lifestar taking over. Back then, the provider for a lower level of care was charging about $223,000 per year, which is a lot of money, and we're at $198,000, and there's a couple thousand on top of that because of administrative stuff to the group, but we're lower than we were 10 years ago.
that's always good to hear.
So, all right,
All right.
thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Thanks. Okay, anybody else here would like to speak tonight on citizen comments? Anybody? Nobody? Okay. Next up, department reports. I don't have any. Next up, number 6, committee minutes. I have HLPC minutes from 12/12 and 12/19, and water and light minutes from 11/14. Any comments or questions about the committee minutes? All right, seeing none. First up tonight, we have review and discuss the amended capital improvement policy amendment. I don't know who wants to. Is Kim coming up? Okay. Come on up, Kim.
Good evening, everybody. So the city currently has a capital improvement plan. And one of the things that our auditors noted in the audit as kind of a shortfall was the fact that the plan wasn't technically complete because it was missing 2 components. One was recognizing what the threshold was for a capital asset, and the second was to determine how we depreciate our capital assets. So I've written an addendum or an addition to the existing policy, which you have, it's highlighted, which basically goes with the current guidelines that we have right now, which is a $5,000 threshold for a capital item and a straight line method for depreciation. And really, that's about what it's adding at this point. The language was actually shared with Baker Tilly, our auditing firm, and they were comfortable with the language and felt that it addressed what they wanted to see as far as what they felt was missing from the original policy or plan that we had originally adopted.
All right, and then in the packet, the yellow highlighted, that's the new section.
That's the new section.
Is the old section just that first paragraph?
No, the old section, I thought I had provided it, but it's probably about 4 pages long. Would you like this to come back and have the remainder of the plan attached?
I just don't see any, when I saw this, I didn't didn't see anything to go with it, so I was a little confused, so, it- it's up to the rest of the council how they, if they want us to come back with the rest of it.
I agree. I just think it's odd that how, I'm not sure I should approve this without seeing the previous one.
Yep, no problem. I think the original was provided in full, but we were really only talking about this piece, so I think that's why that was the only thing in the packet.
I mean, I guess we have an amendment to a policy. I'd want to see the entire policy too. Mike, do you have something?
Yeah, I just had a question about the depreciation portion of, in the last, one of the last paragraphs on the memo page, it says the last piece is to determine depreciation and how to apply, and then how the depreciation would be calculated using the straight line method. My question is, have we been depreciating in the past, or just doing it differently, or this would begin the depreciation?
No, actually, I've always used a straight line depreciation method when I've capitalized assets.
Okay,
So this is just memorializing what we're already doing.
it just wasn't in the policy?
It wasn't in the policy before.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Trina?
Oh, also a question for depreciation. I was wondering, how will that work? Will you need to check with department heads to get a better idea of how long street versus books versus a truck will last? Just
We purchase a lot of the capital assets that we have had for before. You know, like squads. Sorry, I've got I don't know, either laryngitis or something going on, but you know, we've had the same types of equipment before. So we have baseline for depreciations or the years of use. If I can't find that, or if it's a new piece of equipment, I will either search out, you know, Google is great, or there's actual some, Gadsby's got some depreciation schedules that are kind of templates for businesses, municipalities to use. I may search that out, but you know, the thing is we buy predominantly the same things over and over and over again. A dump truck is a dump truck, a squad is a squad, an end loader is an end loader. So we've already got those on our asset depreciation schedule, so I know I've got history to work with. Does that help?
Thank you, Trina. Any more questions for Kim? How do you guys want to proceed? Are you comfortable with what you're seeing here, or would you like to see the entire policy and this with it before I make a decision? Oh, go ahead, Trina, I'm sorry.
I mean, I would be fine moving this forward, but I would want to see the rest of the information before actually approving it.
Okay.
I would agree with that. Yeah. I just want to make sure, I mean, without having seen what was there before,
Okay.
maybe there's something left out, but I think this looks good.
Okay. Everybody okay with that? Moving it forward, have the entire thing for us to look at before we vote on it? Okay. Okay. Any other questions on that before we let Kim go? Seeing none. Okay. Next up is review and discuss market reevaluation by Associated Appraisal. Who wants to discuss this? Did you have? I know Kim we've talked about this briefly in the past. We have they want to do a market evaluation. It's on our contract to be able to do so for an additional, I think, $25,000 on top of our regular annual contract amount. Go ahead, Kim.
Oh no, I just came up here in case somebody had a question.
Oh, okay.
But-
Oh, David, sorry, I didn't see you there.
Well, I understand you have a contract,
Yeah.
and there's additional scope of services. You have a copy of that, and you included that in the budget, but the contract requires the council to approve it. So, you know, this is that's the question before you.
Okay.
I think it's inferred that you're going to do it, but
Sure.
you need to formally take action, and we as a staff thought we should have this discussed at the committee of the whole before it goes, obviously before it goes to the council.
And can you explain to everyone what the market update is, for the purpose of it would be for?
The
People at home?
There's a state statute that requires municipalities to be within a certain range of their assessment ratios. And this year, the city dropped to the basic minimum, which is 90%. There is language to allow municipalities to, get back to the point of being between the 90 and 110. One of the things or reasons why we are doing the market valuation is because we'll continue to see that ratio drop, which means it's a greater discrepancy between what values of homes are versus what they're being assessed at. And what this will do is look at the current market and trends within the city and make adjustments to values based on that. If there's new homes or new construction or building permits, it's my understanding from talking with the representative from Associated that they will be following up on those just like they would normally. But that's basically what they'll be doing is really looking at the trends and then making adjustments there.
Okay, and then with the way our market is, I think maybe Ian had said this before, we're pretty undervalued, and this would only help by doing that reevaluation.
I can vouch for that. I did a title search today for a property that's listed for sale for $299, and the assessed value is $169. So I mean, we are getting out of whack, and so we need to kind of bring ourselves back into line.
Anyone else have questions for Kim?
I did have, just for clarification, in the agreement, it's under scope of services, says for up to 2 years assessment during this additional scope of services agreement. So we're signing the agreement, but which would allow for up to 2 years. And then under compensation, it's an additional $25,000 during each interim market update reevaluation assessment year, with a total compensation of $38,500 per year. So we're only doing this for 1 year, correct? Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Everyone okay moving that forward for approval? Mike, do you have something?
I'm not seeing anything on the contract that specifically says when we want to do this. It gives us flexibility of 2 years. I guess that's what I'm looking for. What are we agreeing to? We're agreeing to a contract that allows us to do this up to 2 years. I just want to make sure that we're deliberative, very deliberate in what we're asking staff to do. So that would be for this tax year, 2020? Okay. All right, thanks for the clarification.
Okay. And is that something, whenever we do get it forward and move it forward to the regular meeting, we'd put that in the motion for approval, that what tax year we'd want it done, and then, in the contract, so it would be done by September 30th of that year, so, okay. I think we can make that pretty clear with that motion at that point. Everyone okay with moving that forward? Yeah. Anything else tonight? Otherwise, short night. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All-time record tonight. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody. Quick night.